When you're going to move the rear end of your transmission off, make sure you remove your speed sensor if it's connected. Since my shift linkage and stuff was not right, I guess whoever had it before screwed it up. It wasn't even shifting the gear when I had it in the car. I should have checked all this out before, but I just figured it'd be okay. When you're going to pull the rear end off the transmission, the gearbox is in the middle here, in between the rear end and the bell housing. What you gotta do is remove all the bolts around, and then take a scraper and a hammer and break loose all the liquid gasket, RTV, whatever it is, around there. And then you have a couple dowel pins, nipples. There. You have 2 of them on there. After you get the RTV broke loose, you need to knock them off those nipples right here. You have little striking points here and here to hit it with a hammer. Don't knock it really hard, just kind of tap it off and just kind of wiggle it back and forth, break it loose off of them, and then pick that thing up. But before you go to take it off, you have to remove your striking arm, which is right here. And then there's a little pin inside here. I'm just using an old screwdriver that broke loose that'll fit inside the hole. Then I have a magnetic one stuck behind here, so it'll catch the pin when it falls out, when it knocks out the back, so it don't fall down the gearbox and all that good stuff. End up losing it. So as soon as you knock this out, you can pick the whole rear end up just a little bit until you got enough to pull the striker arm out, because you have to remove it anyways to get that out, because there's not enough room to pull that back to get the striking arm off. Okay, I got the rear end off the transmission. I want to show you a few things on here. This hole on this arm right here is where your striking arm went. It's locked on to this rod right here, and as you can see, this rod goes down to another rod which goes through all 3 of these. And as you can see, it goes through all 3 of them, which means if it can go through all 3 of them, it's in neutral. All 3 of them's in neutral. You have let's see, this one here on this side is 1st and 2nd gear. This one here is for 3rd and 4th gear, and this one here is for 5th and reverse gear. Now, it's on 1st gear right now. If I pressed it down, that would be 1st gear, and pulling it up would be 2nd gear. Same with this one, will be downs 3rd gear, ups 4th gear, downs 5th gear, ups reverse. And you can also, after you're doing that, you can put them in gear. You can spin the input shaft, check it, and make sure it's, it spins freely and everything. So just check it all out, make sure everything's good on that. You check all your gears out and everything, your bearings, everything looks fine on this one. You have a leftover RTV here. Scrape all that off, clean the surface off real good, and before you go put it all back on for your RTV at all. What you want to do, you want to go on the inside of the bolt holes everywhere, and on the inside of the dowels as well. Then also you have your shafts here. They're spring loaded. That's what keeps your shifter from going back and forth, like I was showing you on here. If it didn't have those spring loaded things, this shifter would be able to pop out like that, and that would not be good. If that popped out, you could pull the whole rod out and you'd have all kinds of messes. So before you go put it all together, make sure they're all in the middle. You could probably take one, press it down, or pull it up and make sure it's in the middle. When it's in the middle and in neutral, it'll wiggle a bit. Won't be as stiff. And just make sure they're all in neutral before you put them down, or else you'll end up with the same problem I had, and you have to pull your whole transmission off underneath your car and tear it apart just to fix this. So just a heads up on that. I would recommend doing this anyways, even if you bought it from a reputable person, just to make sure that everything's good. Go ahead and reseal it up, reseal the gasket up. Okay, after you have your RTV on here, your liquid gasket on the shaft there, go ahead and install your rear end on your transmission. Just guide it down through there. Go real slow and take care of everything. Make sure you're not hitting nothing or tearing anything up. After you get it so far down, take your striking arm, go ahead and install it onto the shaft there, and go ahead and let it guide all the way down. And after that, all you gotta do is get it lined up. dowel pins. And press it down on there. You get it, put all your bolts on. They're 12mm. Do everything in a crisscross pattern. And you're torquing them down. Then when you have all that done, go ahead and install your dowel pin into your striking arm. Get that on there. Make sure your holes all lined up and everything. And that's that. You can see the 3 rods there. They're all flush. It'll tell you that they're all in neutral position. If one of them's pushed back or pulled out a little forward or whatever, and you can't get the shifter to move it, then you're going to have to break the rear end apart and do it like I showed you with the rods back there.